They call it an old Irish folktale, but this is no harmless story told by firelight. This is a warning, etched in whispers, carried through centuries, and born from a man who outwitted the devil himself. His name was Stingy Jack, and his deeds were so vile, so cunning, that neither heaven nor hell would claim his soul. Picture the cobblestone roads of Ireland, cloaked in fog and silence. A drunkard stumbles through the night, unaware that the shadows are watching. His sins are many, his tongue sharper than any blade. And when the devil himself finally comes to collect what is owed, Jack does not tremble. He schemes, and what follows is a dance between man and demon, a game of trickery, curse, and eternal damnation. Some say the jack-o'-lantern still burns with his wandering spirit, doomed to haunt the dark forever. Tonight, we descend into the chilling legend of Stingy Jack. What happens when the devil himself comes looking for you? For Stingy Jack, it was not fear that answered, but cunning. Centuries ago, in the fog-drenched hills of Ireland, Jack was a man cursed not by demons, but by his own vices. A drunkard, a swindler, and a liar so smooth he could cheat death with his words, so the people said. His reputation spread across taverns and villages, tales of his trickery reaching even darker ears. The devil, amused and envious, decided to see for himself if this mortal truly deserved such infamy. One moonless night, Jack staggered along a lonely cobblestone path, his breath thick with ale. That was when he saw it, what looked like a lifeless body sprawled across the road. Jack, unsteady but curious, bent closer. And then it smiled, cold, sharp, otherworldly. The body was no corpse, it was Satan himself, risen to claim Jack's blackened soul. For most men, this would be the end, but Jack was no ordinary sinner. His mind, even fogged with drink, ticked with schemes. He knew the devil had come for him, but he also knew that even the Prince of Darkness could be deceived. Feigning sorrow and acceptance, Jack asked one final favor before his descent into hell. A last drink of ale, rich and overflowing. The devil, amused at such a simple request, agreed. Together, they entered the nearest tavern, shadows curling behind them, patrons frozen in silence. Jack's smirk hid behind his mug. He wasn't drinking to remember. He was drinking to begin his game. The devil had come to take Jack's soul. He would soon discover just how dangerous it was to play with a liar. How far would you go to cheat the devil himself? Jack's answer would haunt the hills of Ireland for centuries. Inside the dimly lit tavern, the air thick with smoke and the scent of ale, Jack and the devil settled at a corner table. Jack ordered drink after drink, each mug sliding across the table as if to test the devil's patience. The patrons whispered, eyes wide, sensing the unnatural presence cloaked behind Jack's staggered movements. Then came the moment that would etch Jack's name into legend. When the bartender demanded payment, Jack feigned panic. I have no coin, he slurred, tilting his head with faux desperation. The devil, ever curious, raised a brow. Then perhaps you can provide one in another way. Jack's smile was sly, his mind a labyrinth of schemes. He demanded the devil transform into a silver coin, just enough to settle the bill. With a flicker of hesitation, the devil obliged. shimmering into a small, cold disc in Jack's hand. But Jack's cunning did not end there. A crucifix hidden in his pocket, blessed, unyielding, ensnared the devil's essence, preventing escape. The devil found himself bound by mortal trickery, forced into a bargain that he could not defy. Jack's voice, low and steady, carried a chilling command. His soul must be spared for 10 years. The devil, trapped and impressed by Jack's audacity, agreed. Even the Prince of Darkness had limits when faced with the audacity of a mortal who had mastered deceit. As Jack pocketed the coin, the tavern's shadows seemed to lean closer, shivering at the unnatural victory. The first chapter of Jack's infamy was written not in blood, but in cunning, and it would echo for a decade before the devil returned to collect what he believed was owed. What happens when the devil himself comes knocking for a debt you swore would never be repaid? Jack knew exactly how to answer. 10 years had passed since Jack first outwitted the devil, and yet the memory of that night lingered in every dark corner of his mind. On a cold, fog-laden evening, Jack wandered the countryside, the crunch of leaves beneath his boots echoing like distant voices. He did not need to look far. The devil, ever patient and cunning, appeared as if summoned by the shadows themselves, intent on claiming what he believed was owed. Jack's stomach growled, and yet his mind raced. With the same silver tongue that he had ensnared the devil before, he made a request. A single apple from a nearby tree, a morsel to fill his empty belly. Foolishly, the devil agreed. As he reached for the fruit, Jack circled the base of the tree with crucifixes, the pale wood glowing faintly in the moonlight. Panic flashed in the devil's eyes, a rare crack in his eternal composure. Jack's grin widened, cruel and calculated. He demanded once more. His soul must never be taken. The devil, trapped by Jack's cunning and the power of the holy symbols, had no choice but to comply. His rage simmered, but the rules were set. Jack had turned the impossible into his reality, bending even the Prince of Darkness to his will. By the time the devil vanished into the night, Jack's laugh echoed across the hills, a sound equal parts triumph and warning. The townsfolk whispered for decades about the drunkard who had cheated hell itself, and about the ember of darkness Jack carried with him, a reminder that even the devil could be outwitted by mortals' cunning. What becomes of a man who cheats the devil twice, yet cannot escape the judgment of heaven or hell? Jack was about to find out. Years of drinking, trickery, and reckless living had taken their toll. Jack's body grew frail, his once sharp mind dulled by time and indulgence. One cold, misty night, his heart gave out, and the drunkard who had danced with the devil now faced the final reckoning. He expected the gates of heaven to open, the pearly threshold welcoming his cleverness as a sign of worth. But the angel at the gates shook his head, a grim warning etched in his expression. Your soul is stained with deceit, with lies and sin. You cannot enter here. Jack's eyes widened, disbelief clawing at him like frostbite. He had survived men, monsters, and even the devil itself, but heaven would not claim him. With nowhere else to turn, Jack descended into the shadowed world between life and death. He approached the fiery gates of hell, hoping to bargain once more with the devil he had outwitted. But Satan, bound by his own promise, could not touch Jack's soul. Instead, he handed him a single ember flickering dimly, a cruel gift to light the way. And so Jack wandered, neither alive nor dead, condemned to roam the world in twilight. His face haunted the nightmares of villagers, his hollow eyes glowing in the darkness, and the ember inside, a hollowed turnip, became a lantern of warning. Jack's tale became a whisper in the winds of Ireland. Cleverness and cunning could cheat death itself, but the consequences linger, eternal and inescapable. What kind of punishment awaits a soul that has defied both heaven and hell? Jack was about to discover the full weight of his choices. The ember in the hollowed turnip flickered weakly, casting long, trembling shadows across the misty Irish countryside. Jack wandered endlessly, a phantom among the living, neither dead nor fully alive. His footsteps made no sound, yet the chill of his presence was felt by all who crossed his path. The villagers spoke in hushed tones of the figure with glowing eyes and the eerie lantern that marked his passage. Children shivered at the mention of his name, Stingy Jack. The adults avoided the winding roads after dusk. Jack's cleverness had saved him from hell, but it had also condemned him to a life without rest, a night that never ended. He tried to rest, to hide, to escape the endless shadows, but the ember glowed regardless, a constant reminder of his sins and his folly. No warmth, no comfort came from it, only the cold light of eternal warning. Through forests, over hills, and across silent villages, Jack roamed. He became a ghostly emblem of greed, deceit, and the cost of tricking powers beyond mortal understanding. His laughter, once drunken and brash, had faded into a hollow whisper carried by the wind. Wherever he went, the ember glowed, flickering like the heartbeat of his cursed soul, warning mortals. Cleverness may cheat death, but it cannot cheat eternity. And so, the legend of Stingy Jack endured, a chilling tale whispered on All Hallows Eve, a story of cunning, consequence, and a lantern that burns forever in the darkness. The tale of Stingy Jack may seem like a simple legend, but beneath its surface lies a story of deceit, greed, and a cleverness that outwitted even the devil himself. Jack's choices spared him from the fiery depths of hell, yet they condemned him to an eternity wandering the world between light and shadow. His hollowed turnip lantern, a constant, eerie reminder of the price of trickery. In this tale, we've walked with him through darkness, witnessed the cleverness that could bend fate, and felt the chill of a punishment far worse than death. The ember in Jack's lantern does not merely light his path, it casts a warning for all of us who dare to tempt powers greater than ourselves. If you felt the shiver of this tale, share it with someone brave enough to face the story of Stingy Jack. And remember to like, subscribe, and hit the bell for more chilling legends and mysteries. And as always, don't forget to look beyond the fog.